Can you use your smartphone to make videos to grow your brand and your business? Well, I hope that answers the question for you. I used my 2-year-old phone to be able to do that video. I'm going to start with the mobile phone, as I know that most of you already own one. If you have an actual video camera, stay with us, because a lot of the information that I'll be going over in the mobile device will actually be pertinent to you guys that actually have cameras. Also, I'll be releasing the second part of this video, which also shows you how to do the same thing, but with a real camera instead of a mobile device. So, all you need is a smartphone to make awesome videos for social media and to help grow your business and brand. That expensive camera that we often see on movie sets and film sets, they're very expensive. So let's begin with what you already have and learn some skills and techniques. So let's jump right into this. We're going to jump into my cell phone. I am actually using the regular cell phone app that came with my phone on a Samsung Galaxy S9, and wow, that's close. So raise it up just a little bit. I'm on a stand right here so that I could keep this thing kind of steady so that you guys aren't getting dizzy watching this. And there we go. So got my notes on my iPad. All right, so guys, depending on what phone you have, you may have an iPhone, you may have an Android. Just go to the camera setting on it or the camera application, tap it, get into it, look at the gear section. I'm in my Samsung phone right now, and I am going to tap the gear section right there, and I'm going to have this screen up on the upper right hand side so that you guys could see it and see a little bit about what I'm doing. But right now I am using the rear camera, which is, you know what, I'm in the picture mode, so I need to go back and go into the video mode. So I'm going to pull down right here and go into the video mode. Now I'm going to go back into the camera mode, because most of your applications are going to have the picture mode and the camera mode within the same application. So rear camera. So this is the rear camera. This is the front facing camera. So we're going to go into camera resolution right here. This is 16:9 right here that you see. And I'm going to touch that right there. And I'm usually filming in Ultra HD. That's what you see, the UHD. That's most televisions now that you see that are on the market is Ultra HD. And not quite 4K. It'll have 4K on there. It's not really 4K. It's Ultra HD. And what I mean by that is the 3840 by 2160 that you're seeing right there, that's not 4K. That's 3840. Ultra HD. It's more than 1920 by 1080, but it's quite a bit more actually. So, but it's not quite 4K yet. But I think for marketing purposes, they call it 4K. So, because 3840 is not 4K. That's not really important for you to know. But you do have a lot of options right here. You have 1:1 if you're filming for maybe Instagram TV or something. I generally try not to do that because I don't want to pigeonhole myself to that particular format. I'd rather shoot in the 16:9 format, and then I'll crop if I need to do something different. So that's that. So I'm going to come out of there. Advanced recording options. So I got super slow-mo on, so you saw some slow-mo, which is kind of fun to do. You don't have to necessarily do that. Especially in this one. I got HDR on for rich tone. No, it's actually off. I think I had it on to get more of a wider dynamic range, but that's something totally different. We will not go over wide dynamic range in this video. We're not going to go over wide dynamic. Can I even talk today? Pictures is previewed, selfies, grid lines. Grid lines, gotta have grid lines on, guys. So as I'm going down through here, and you know what grid lines are. Those are those lines that you see that are on the camera when you're using it. And the reason why you use grid lines is to help you to be able to frame a shot. We'll go right back to that when we get to the camera part. So, but I think that's all. Oh, right here, storage location. If it gives you the option, which it should, or if your phone does not have an additional SD card, a lot of Androids do. I'm not sure. I don't think the iPhones do. I think you have to buy the iPhone based on the size of the internal storage that's on it. And I selected the SD card on mine because my SD card has a lot greater storage for that purpose. And I didn't want to eat up all this internal storage because that's actually where my operating system is on my phone. So that's it. I'm going to back out. And we're going to see the grid lines right there. So what I wanted to talk about the grid line right there is framing. And when you hear me reference the term frame, it's actually what you see when you're looking through your phone or your camera. And that is the frame. So right now, like for instance, right there, my frame is centered right there. And then right here would be camera left right here and camera right. And I don't like it centered generally for most part. I mean, I guess if you're vlogging, that's okay. But I like to just kind of have it just slightly off. And I'll use this right line right there to be able to line me up. And then I don't like this a lot of times. I try not to crush the top of my head with the top frame. I usually try to get just a little bit of like right in there. And this is a good kind of headshot or portrait shot right there. It's a little wider shot. That's good for interviews. Or if you're like, I think if you're presenting or you're doing a little bit more, you'd probably go to what we would call a cowboy shot, which would be down to your waist or down to your cowboy shot where your guns would be, actually. That's why they call it the cowboy shot. So yeah, so if your camera app has manual controls, and I'm going to go over here, and I downloaded a couple right here. This is Open Camera, this is Camera MX. And I'm going to launch Camera MX right there. And it has some camera controls right there that a little more than you would normally see on some cameras. But again, you know, this one is actually the video camera control. And it's recording a little bit because you could tell by the tally up here as it's moving that it's recording. So I'm going to go ahead and back out of that. Oh, stop recording. Camera MX is pretty good. I'm going to open up open camera. Okay, so this is where you get into some of your manual video controls right here. I'm going to go ahead and turn it around again because it's looking away from me. So the little camera symbol with the little arrows that kind of point around it, that flips your camera. You guys know that. Everybody does selfies. You guys already know that. But if you notice that there's a yellow box that's just kind of following me right there, that is actually face detection. Make sure it's on. It'll be in your gear menu up here. When you tap on it, it'll allow you to be able to kind of cruise through there and look at different options right there. Get familiar with these controls, and especially with video settings, if that's where we're working. And again, right here, we're at 1920 by 1080. That's full HD, and that's what this one's set up on right now. And this is a free software, so Camera MX and Open Camera are free softwares. So, but what's cool about this one, it actually has zoom control. That's freaky. Oh, that's my mom sending me a message. So it actually has zoom control, and right here, or you could go a little bit at a time, right there. And then this is brightness control, so it goes dark. Goes brighter. And it has the exposure value compensation. So if you see that it says like minus 0.7, that means it's like a half a stop, a little more than a half a stop too dark. So, and the good part, you know what? The good part about video is that you can judge it by what you see. Like, you know, what you don't want is this, to where it's like so blown out and you can't tell what's going on. It looks like a nuclear attack. But there, if it's at 0, you generally speaking, for most mobile phones, it's actually set up pretty good. And then I'm thinking that looks like a pretty good frame right there. So a little bit of headroom. This is what you don't want right here. You don't want to, you know, there's nothing more irritating than just seeing frames that are like this. I guess there's a purpose for it. You could punch in, but generally I don't try to punch in any more than probably right there. Punch in means to zoom in and out. So yeah, so we'll just keep it out like that for all intents purposes. So, but now now that we've kind of got that going on, again, if you have any questions about this, and if these manual controls, I'm going to go back to the Samsung because it basically runs everything on auto. And it actually looks better to me on the Samsung. And I don't know, when Samsung developed this application, this phone or video camera app for their phone, they optimized it for their phone. And a lot of times app developers don't really do that. They're trying to do it for a generalized number of phones that are out there. So that, yeah, that's important to know. So when you're telling a story, I wrote this out so that I knew the exact shots that I wanted to be able to capture while I was filming with the phone. And one of the important things about this is that it makes sense a lot of times. So it's like doing a recipe. If you're doing a video on actually how to cook a particular type of dish, whether it's a roast or whatever, and it has all these ingredients that are going into it, well, your list for your video will be the ingredients that you need to be able to put together to be able to make a video that makes sense. All right, so let's talk about lighting a little bit. One of the things that can become an issue, and it didn't become an issue with my mobile phone for the most part because the lighting was nice and bright outside, and I chose a time of a day when the lighting was like at a lower angle in the sky, so it was around 5:30-ish, 5 o'clock, so it wasn't directly overhead. And when it's directly overhead, you get those heavy shadows in the eyes and so forth that kind of make it a little more challenging. But you get this beautiful light at the towards the end of the day. You could see it in the rover right there. It's just a really pretty light. It's kind of that sunset kind of look. And that's not challenging. But what was challenging was the shot of Max walking away from me, because he's dimly lit, you know, and it worked out. It was fine. I wanted it kind of backlit a little bit. Oh, you about ran into me right there. I was talking to him as I was filming. He turned around to listen to me. So that lighting is a little challenging. The one where he's actually washing the windshield, that was super challenging. Where is it at? That's not it. So this lighting, look at that. Look at that. That's a mess right there. So you got the sunlight right there on the upper right-hand side, and the sunlight reflecting on the hood. Look how dark he is. And now I was able to pull it open in my edit software a little later on, so that helped a great deal. But yeah, so that looked really good. So that's challenging light right there. And that's what you probably want to try to avoid in your first video, is working with challenging light. We do it all the time in commercial work, but we got ways of getting around those situations or working around it. Adding a light, that would have helped. For your purposes, though, like when you choose your first subject to be able to film on video, don't overcomplicate things for the first time, but, see if you could pick a subject where you could get several angles on them that would just give interest. And what I mean by several angles is I'll show you a shot that had more than one angle. So this one started at this angle right here, which was a cool angle. You know, he was, you know, working the sponge right there, and then it went immediately to this angle right here, which is really cool. Second angle. So like that. And then I had another one with the bucket. This was just really simple. You know, this, I'm not complicating things here. We're doing this angle right here. You know, and then you have the top angle. Where's it at? Oh, right here. So he's spraying from this angle. This is how it starts, right? And then the angle cuts to this right here. This top view right here. So that's just interest, nothing complicated right there, nothing too challenging for the camera, especially the mobile camera, to be able to take, but it worked out pretty nice. Okay, so guys, remember, I'm only talking about mobile devices, but these same principles actually work for a regular camera, a regular video camera. So the beauty of using a regular camera as opposed to a mobile device is that you can actually control your exposures a lot easier. You could change your apertures, you could change your shutter speeds, you could change your ISO, and you could do that in a lot of phone applications, but the camera generally handles it a lot better. Most of my shots, if you notice, were still, and they're still frames. And again, remember, frame by frame, each time I change a angle or a shot is a frame that I'm choosing and that I know will go into my shot. So that's how the video went. It jumped from frame to frame to frame, except for the very last shot, which was this shot right here, is the shot of the car kind of sitting there in its finish mode. We call that a hero shot. It's a wide contextual shot. And it drives off and we follow it just ever so slight. But if you notice the video camera, it goes dark right there. And that's the auto setting. Now, if we had a manual setting on that or a manual camera on that, that would not have happened. It would have just remained in that pretty light. All right, guys, I hope you have a better understanding of how you can create amazing videos with your mobile device. Please follow me, subscribe, share, and hit the like button if this video was awesome for you. I look forward to sharing with you how simple and creative it can be to build your own brand and business with the power of videos. Peace.